Hey everyone, this is Michael with the Black Mirror for Capricorn Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I do hope that this video finds you all well. Before you skip ahead or ask yourself, what is this Black Mirror reading? What is this about? Please let me explain, because this is not a traditional reading you'll often find on YouTube. The Black Mirror is actually designed to help illuminate any aspects, patterns, or beliefs that exist in our subconscious or our shadow self, with the intention of working through our blockages so we can live the most fulfilling life possible. I'm not necessarily going to be focused on romance, relationships, finances, career, any one area in specific like that. Rather, this is more a reading for your psycho-spiritual development and growth. And in that way, it actually can really touch on all of these areas of your life simultaneously, because we all have these projections, we all have these belief systems and biases where we are filtering information or not even seeing something because of our own preconceived notion of things. So it's a very, psychological read, very much looking at ourselves. And it's been a lot of fun so far. I've been working on this series for the past week or so, and a lot of people have loved it, so I'm curious to see what comes up for you, Capricorn. Before we dive in, I just want to thank all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. As always, it's because of all of you I'm able to continue putting out these messages and sharing this content with everyone on YouTube, so thank you so much. I do have links in the description box down below for personal readings, Reiki sessions, donations for those of you who feel so called, and all of my social media where I post updates and announcements and occasionally giveaways. So lots of good stuff in that description box. And I'm curious to see what comes up for you, so I'm going to start shuffling now. As I'm doing that, I will just give my friendly reminder that this is a general reading, meaning not all the messages that come forward are going to be meant for you. It's up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for someone else. Do keep in mind that because we are looking at the subconscious, however, these patterns may not be readily apparent or evident, and it never hurts to look back a week or two after watching this and kind of see if you start to see the pattern I'm talking about. I do think that these readings actually may work best with your moon sign. So if you don't know what your moon, rising, or Venus signs are and you want to take a look at another video, I have a natal chart calculator in the description box down below that should be able to help you figure that out. But if you don't know your time of birth, or that just sounds really confusing and you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's totally fine. This isn't really super specific on zodiac. It's just the group of people who are watching this video. So just trust that you found the message that's meant for you if it resonates. And if it doesn't, you're welcome to take a look at the other videos, or even look at the general readings I do that gives more of a specific what's going to be happening when. I do those at the start of each month. So let's see, what are the messages for Capricorn? We already have 2 cards on the table. Now we have 3. Okay. Coming out together, we do have this Queen of Swords and the 6 of Pentacles. Both are coming out in the reverse. And it's being reflected by this High Priestess energy. I think what I'm seeing here with this group, we're looking at this tendency to be kind of guarded and maybe holding yourself back a little bit in situations because you feel like you figured it out very quickly. And this is a pattern that's coming out for this group for the next few weeks. So just kind of consider, if you think you have a situation or a person all figured out, be prepared to be a little surprised, okay? I do feel like your intuition is strong. I'm not saying that you don't have good intuition, but you may not be getting every little detail. There's still things you might be missing. And I feel like a lot of this is actually coming from a place of defensiveness. You're either writing people off or writing a situation off very quickly, and it's really important that you stay open-minded at this time, because it seems like there's this tendency to either think of things like, is this a worthy investment of my time? Is this really someone I can open up to, or am I going to get hurt? And it's almost like in you holding back all the time, it's actually preventing things from manifesting, from things coming forward or relationships developing. And it can actually be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy is what I'm getting here, especially with this High Priestess. And that's very interesting. Yeah, this feels very much like I was talking about this actually for the astrology blog for February, where we have to be careful of the self-confirmation bias or confirmation bias, which is kind of prevalent with a retrograde. At least this one specifically, I was kind of picking that up. And it's basically this phenomena where we interpret information based on what we believe to be true or what we already know. And we sort of filter things in, and we may miss out on key details, or we may omit certain aspects that prevent us from really seeing the full picture here. And I'm kind of seeing that for you, Capricorn. I want to tell you there is more to the situation than you realize. And I think a lot of this is actually coming from you being guarded. Maybe you've given yourself a lot to people in the past, you've given yourself to a situation. It's like you'll put in all this energy and it didn't pay off. And now you're being very cautious with extending yourself in that way. And also I'm getting the message not to be ashamed to ask for help. That's actually coming up pretty strongly, and that sounds very Capricorn as well. Because even if you don't know how someone can help you, or you don't think someone can help you, they may still be able to give you something, even if it's just emotional support, even if it's just something you weren't really counting on or what you thought you needed. Be open to that support. Some of you've just decided that someone can't help you, and it's actually preventing you from reaching out to that person who is able to give you something. So that's really interesting. It seems like we're really looking a lot at perception for this group right now. So what's not showing up? This Queen of Cups. This did come up upright, but I'm actually almost feeling this kind of in the reverse. And what this is really signifying to me, I feel like, again, there may have been a situation or a person in your life that was a little manipulative or emotionally, what's the right word? They were intuitive, they were sensitive, this could even be a parent of yours, and they use that against people. And I'm almost wondering if you're kind of doing that too. I'm not trying to, point any blame, point any fingers. I'm not trying to call anyone out or say anyone's a bad person. But I wonder if there is kind of this manipulation going on. And if that's the case, if this is resonating for you in some way and you're like, yeah, maybe this is me, I'm not trying to shame you. I think it's just really important to look at where this comes from, because did you come from an environment where there was manipulation, where that's how you got your needs met, that was the only way? Because there's this apprehension with asking for help, and it's almost like there has to be this game, or trying to get close to someone, or opening up. There has to be a way to kind of bait someone here. And it's also bred suspicion for you, actually, as well. I feel like you're having a hard time trusting people because of this past, because of this upbringing, whatever this Queen of Cups energy is representing. Someone very attuned, but uses it for manipulation. And maybe you're doing that a little bit yourself as well. But I feel like this is what's not showing up. This is something you're kind of leaving behind. You may still be acting like it's here, though, that you have to be worried about being manipulated all the time. And I don't think this is really happening necessarily in this situation. So let's see. It's been a lot of messages like this, actually. Which is interesting. This is a timeless reading, but we are in a Mercury retrograde right now, so I'm sure most of you watching this, you're experiencing this Mercury retrograde, or maybe at just some other period of time in your life where this energy is kind of coming up. It's making us very unsure of things, very suspicious, because a lot of the time during Mercury retrograde, it's like you're not supposed to trust people, you have to, be very suspicious of everything. But this one actually seems a little meta. It's like a meta Mercury retrograde where we're really looking at how we look at Mercury retrogrades and how we look at this time. Because I actually think there's a lot of projection that's going on here. And sometimes you can find problems if you're looking hard enough. And they wouldn't really be an issue otherwise. All of this is just coming up for some reason. Let's see. What is the crack in the mirror for Capricorn? How do we get out of this pattern? Here we go. So we have the King of Swords, which is interesting because we had a Queen of Swords. This is actually one of your indicator cards, Capricorn, especially if you are a later Capricorn, born in the last 10 days, maybe on the cusp of Aquarius. I feel like this is definitely you. And I'm not saying turn off your emotions or shut down your emotions, but it's like this guy has this sword over his heart. And he sees a situation from a very rational or logical perspective. It's important for you to see how your emotions are coloring the situation. Because you might be seeing something that, while it may be there, you're making a bigger deal of it than it actually is. Or you're making the pattern or the intuition you're sensing about a person or situation mean something more than it actually means. And it's almost getting into this curious state of mind, observing things, maybe even observing your own emotions. People think that the King of Swords is always detached. He doesn't necessarily need to be detached. He can be guarded. He is prone to that. He can be very emotionally cold, in fact, if this energy is out of balance. But when it's upright, when it's in balance, I think the King of Swords is able to see emotions, able to see the emotional reactions within himself and other people, and he doesn't react to that. He just observes it. So it's not about not feeling, it's not about shutting down your emotions, it's just about simply becoming aware of how you're feeling in a situation, because it does seem to be affecting your outlook here. And this is kind of a pattern that's, I feel like it's happening in a lot of areas of your life. We were talking about that confirmation bias before, and that really is coming in pretty strongly. Are there any other messages? I'm actually feeling called to pull a Starseed Oracle card for you, so we'll kind of see what pops out there. Interesting. So the Courageous Peony, multifaceted, unique nature, and let yourself be seen. Yeah, some of you have been hiding from something because you kind of calculated it or cut it off. You were like, no, I'm not going to be open with these people. We're not going to jive. I'm not going to connect with this person. It might not go the way you want. It might not meet your agenda. That's true. I'm not saying like, oh, this is the love of your life or this is a person you need to have in your life. But there's something about opening up here and giving yourself that room to kind of explore and just see. Because I do feel like there is something that you're hiding. And you're also not necessarily seeing that everyone has these multiple aspects. And really, everyone else's multiple aspects are reflecting our own multiple aspects. And it's kind of just this kaleidoscope, this hall of mirrors. And you may be picking up on very specific parts of somebody without seeing their whole. Without seeing them as kind of the mosaic that they truly are. And this is really looking at the world in this way as well. And the more I've been on the spiritual path, the more I've done this work, it's like I know something is true when I can see its inherent paradox. And I think you're being asked to look at something and address where it's paradoxical, not just see the one side, see the whole spectrum here. Because you're doing this to try and protect yourself, and it's actually keeping you locked in and disconnected. It takes a lot of courage to open up, to bloom. And you may be making this about other people, but it's actually your own fear of opening up or being vulnerable in a situation. Very interesting. So those are the messages that I'm getting for you right now, Capricorn. I do hope this was interesting and helpful for all of you. Definitely hit like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments if this is resonating, what you think this is talking about, or where you're seeing this manifest in your life. And of course, again, all of my links are in the description box down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Capricorn.